Yo, what's going on, you guys, and welcome back to the Anime Plus podcast. This is your podcast for everything anime and anime related. If this is your first time here, I'm your boy Aray, and I'm with my co-host Owen. Owen, say what's up.
What's going on, guys? What's up?
That's my guy Owen right there. So yeah, in today's episode, we have a pretty fun one. We found this article that kind of goes over a lot of different things related to anime when it comes to rewatching your favorite anime as an adult. So it's titled "The 10 Harsh Realities of Rewatching." So obviously, a lot of us have watched a lot of anime in our childhood, and we kind of want to go back to kind of that feeling where we're like, oh shit, I remember this, the nostalgia feeling, right on? You know what I mean? Like when
Yeah.
you want to rewatch something for again, and it's just like, damn, bro, that shit hit. You know what I mean?
No, it's every time I put like a new person onto One Piece, I
Yeah.
probably watched like the first part of One Piece so many times
Hmm.
because I've put on like my cousins or I put on like my nephews or whatever. Like I would put on my friends and then I'd watch the first couple episodes with them. But thank God they actually remade those episodes because they're
Yeah.
actually bearable to watch now.
Right. 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 But yeah, I mean, sometimes when I want to go back and watch an anime, I realize how cringe or how weird it can be, you know what I mean? So I guess that's what this article is kind of going over. 10 different things that are kind of I guess they kind of turn you off when it comes to rewatching an anime. Because I know that when I was a kid, man, like I was really like easily influenced and I didn't really nitpick on it, you know what I mean? So when it comes to rewatching that shit again, I'm like, oh shit, bro, I don't know what's going on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yo, you definitely got Fairy Tail on your rewatch list or what?
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm already I think I'm rewatching it for like the third time,
Oh
bro.
no, oh no. So I feel like like we evolve and we
Hmm.
grow and we grow
Yeah,
up,
for
right?
sure.
And then the anime, stays the same, but it's still geared towards the kids. If
Hmm.
depending on the anime, like Fairy
Yeah, right,
Tail,
right.
like it's geared towards kids. So once you grow up, you don't find that interesting anymore. Or yeah, you do see it as cringy. But yeah,
Hmm.
there are like rewatching anime. Some of it's good. You got pros and cons. But yeah, I think this goes over most of the cons. Well, yeah, let's get into the first reason.
All right, so the first harsh reality of watching an anime again while being an adult is there's too many episodes and not enough time.
Yeah, no, that's like so facts. That's not even with rewatching stuff. I can't catch up to what's going on right now. Like
Exactly.
I just watched My Hero's the ending of My Hero. I have like a
Hmm.
couple episodes left. It does get better. Like I'm not gonna lie, show was fire. Show was fire. Shout out Issa, bro. You were lying when you were saying it's getting better. I'm not like, it's still it's rising above mid, but it's still it's pretty good. But wait, where were we?
We're talking about like how there's too many episodes and not enough time.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's two. Like I just caught up to My Hero, and the new My Hero is probably gonna come out like soon. So it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, there's just what we were talking about in the like two podcasts ago. There's so much content that we're getting in every season since like COVID. There's like so much new stuff that going back to the old stuff is almost impossible. Like I barely ever rewatch anime just because
Yeah.
there's like no time. But yeah,
Yeah, no, so I'm pretty lucky where my wife hasn't really watched any anime and I've had the chance to be able to rewatch a bunch of anime alongside her. So obviously I've rewatched a bunch and she hasn't watched it at all. So it's like her first reaction and I get to rewatch it. So there's been a ton of anime that I've been able to do this for. And one example for this, and I probably will use this example a bunch of times throughout this entire pod episode, but it's Naruto. So obviously there's the original Naruto, which is like 200 or so episodes, and then there's the Naruto Shippuden, which is like 500 episodes. And obviously there's fillers and whatnot, but still, there's not enough time because I'm at work, so is she, and then 700 episodes. So it could literally take, if we do one a day, it could take almost 2 years. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not enough time to be able to binge through it, even though I mean we could binge through it, but again, so many episodes and not enough time.
yeah, that's like that's gonna play rewatching in
Hmm.
general. Like people are gonna get into anime and there's just too much content, and I'm not disagreeing with the amount of content. I like the amount of content, but rewatching, I think I think there needs to be like, if there's like a better system to rewatch, maybe like fast forwarded, but then
Yeah,
you don't get the same experience.
right,
But
right,
too much content, definitely.
right. Exactly. And it's like you were saying earlier, too much content, but that's just facts because if I want to rewatch this Naruto, that's a pretty big commitment, you know? It's like 700 episodes. But it doesn't really leave me enough time to be able to watch the newer series as well. So that's a problem that I've been running into where my wife wants to watch some Naruto, but I'm like, man, I kind of already watched this. I want to watch some new shit, but
Facts.
there's just not enough time to get to be able to do both, watch new stuff and to be able to watch older stuff and enjoy both.
I think there might need to be like a publishing company that just
Mm-hmm.
kind of shortens anime
Mm-hmm.
and
That would be sick.
gives not like gives like reviews, because you could just watch that on YouTube, but
Mm-hmm.
like maybe combining like taking out all the boring parts, just like how One Piece Kai did it, or One
Yeah.
Piece did it, just like that. If like a publishing company can actually do it, and if it's verified, then they're not going to take out any of the stuff that really matters. So
Right.
maybe like a rewatch channel, rewatch AI type shit. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that'd be pretty cool, and I feel like that's something that would definitely either needs to happen or will definitely happen eventually. Because it's like, again, the more time that goes on, the more content that will be out there. But yeah,
Is that yo? What if just okay? So
yeah,
like imagine just like an AI for the rewatching, right? And you're like, yo, I just want to rewatch this part, but I do want to watch it from beginning to end. Everything that entails this part. And then the AI goes and finds the episode, tells you from this minute to this minute they're doing this. And you could go to like specific
damn.
events. You could go to like specific events like I mean, obviously these are definitely recorded on the internet, but you're gonna
Hmm.
have to go and search for them yourself. But this is like a way where maybe the AI can just search for it for you and then give you the
Hmm.
exact and display it all at once. But yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be
So
crazy.
that would be crazy. I don't want to say I do this, but I go on YouTube every once in a while and I'll remember like a really cool scene. One that I just did recently was to watch that Black Clover scene where Asta gets up when Yami calls on him. You know what I mean? So I don't know if this would ever happen, but if Crunchyroll or even YouTube implemented something like this, which obviously that would be a nightmare for all the licenses and whatnot. But if they were to implement something like that, where they had an AI, you type in exactly what you want to see, and the AI would be able to get just a video of what you wanted to watch, that would be sick.
Yeah, like exactly. Just like imagine I want to watch the fight for Luffy and Kaido, right?
Hmm.
But I don't want like, because it goes on for so many episodes.
Hmm.
I don't want a response that comes out like episode 1,000 to episode 1050, right? I want I want it to be like compound clipped basically,
Yeah,
and then
right.
it
Okay.
just flows through. But yeah, that would be sick, bro. We might need to look into this ourselves. But yeah, if someone wants to copy that idea and do it, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all up for grabs.
No, no, I want my Kevin O'Leary shit, bro. I'm trying to get the royalties, bro.
Yo, contact us. Oh my god. But yeah, let's get into the next let's get into the next reality.
All right, so the next harsh reality is fan service can feel more embarrassing. Yo, this is something that I could actually relate to because, like, rewatching Naruto again with my wife, she hasn't watched it. I've watched it. Low key, when they pull out that sexy jutsu, I'd be looking at my wife like I side eye her, and she's just like, she got that disgusted face, and I'm like, yo, low key, it's a little embarrassing because like I be telling her like the show is mad nice. You just gotta get through it. But it's also like, bro, how do you justify that shit, bro? You know what I mean?
Yo, low key. But honestly, a lot of this is like a lot of it is geared towards young males, right? So they're
Mhm.
going to appeal to what young men like. But that's funny
Yeah.
as hell, bro. Man's getting the side eye as he's watching the sexy jutsu. and
Yeah.
and
That's
low
that
key, yeah.
like I said, that's only one example, bro. I'm telling you, man, there's so many anime that we've been rewatching, and it's just like there's just too much fan service. I mean, obviously there's Fairy Tail, happens a little bit in Sword Art Online. Just a couple of the ones that we've been watching, but it be happening too much, man.
Go to Mermaid Island in One Piece. You're beat. Oh, you can't even watch that. At this point, you're fucked, bro. No watching that shit. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, as you grow older, those it's like those scenes are obviously good for if you're a
Mhm,
kid, not a kid, but they're good scenes. I'm not saying they're bad scenes, but like yeah, sometimes it just gets a bit too much. I mean, some people are into
mhm,
that, and that's what changes about an anime. You evolve as a person, but then the anime stays where it's gonna stay. So, I mean, that's just one of the realities we have to deal with as rewatching older anime. But
mhm.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think it's
no.
that big of an issue. I,
Yeah.
I okay. So for me, I haven't really dealt with that situation. I don't
Mhm.
really rewatch anime like that either. So
Okay.
I feel you, but in a place where I can kind of make a connection where it's like, okay, not too much fan service, but sometimes the jokes and whatnot, like they're really corny and they're really
Yeah. Yeah.
like I thought they were better, but they're honestly not. But yeah, that's just the same thing with like you grow up, the anime stays the same. But yeah,
Yeah.
let's get into the next one.
All right. So this next one is it only applies to some anime, I would say, but that is some series lack closure and proper endings.
No, that's facts. That's facts. Which ones? I like see you're the rewatch guy. Which
Okay.
ones have you
The
have
the
you
first one, and I mean there's a reason for this, but the first one that pops into my head is Hunter x Hunter. And
okay.
that's just because, obviously the series never ended, but like the anime kind of just fell off in the middle of nowhere. And it's just like there's no closure, there's no proper ending, and it's just there. I think Dragon Ball is another one where the story kind of seems like it's still continuing on, but it's like ending at the same time. You know what I mean? Like with the Dragon Ball Z at the ending of that, it was just kind of left there and it wasn't really a proper closure. But then they make another part and Dragon Ball Super comes out and Dragon Ball GT and it's just weird, man. You know what I mean? Like you can tell that it's meant to flow into another part, but at the same time, that's like the end.
Got
Where
you.
you know what I mean? So it's those are my two biggest examples.
I really thought Dragon Ball ended by now. Like I haven't personally watched Dragon Ball, but
Mhm,
there's so many different Dragon Balls that I've heard. So
mhm.
you're saying the series hasn't ended yet?
No, it's still going on.
Holy shit. And the story's still intact?
I mean, I've kind of dropped it, but as far as I know, the manga has been continuing on. This is for Dragon Ball Super. And the anime stopped for a little bit, but I heard that it might start out soon, within this year or next, probably next.
God damn, I really did not expect that. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really ever run into that issue since I don't,
Hmm.
rewatch. I do get the Hunter x Hunter reference. I
Yeah.
That's probably something I still would rewatch. But yeah, I do feel how if you rewatch that, especially if you're rewatching that with somebody
Hmm.
else, right?
Yeah.
They're looking for something, and then that there's nothing really left to give, and then it's
Right.
kind of an
Right.
awkward spot. But
Right. Right.
yeah,
What about
Hunter. Hmm?
Sorry, go ahead.
I said Hunter x Hunter is just one of those rare animes that happens to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
But
there's a
yeah.
reason that the author got sick. But let me ask you a question. What about Bleach? Do you think Bleach had that too? Like obviously before the Thousand Year Blood War.
Honestly, for me,
Hmm.
I was content with whatever happened
Okay.
until the Aizen part, right? For
Hmm.
me, the show kind of ended over there, like already. This is like for me, this is a bonus. I didn't even know this was happening. People that read the manga, they obviously knew this was happening. And as an anime only watcher, once it got to Aizen, at like I think the bounce stuff happened. Did it happen? Something happened after Aizen, and I didn't even
Yeah.
really consider that Bleach,
Right.
like because he lost. It's like to for me, right? It it concluded because he lost his powers completely to Aizen, like
Hmm.
because it was a trade off. Basically, he loses powers to defeat the strongest villain alive. So I mean, that's what I thought was gonna like. I thought it was gonna just gonna end that way, and then they had like a bullshit arc. I
Hmm.
really did not consider that Bleach. It was a straight filler arc, and then after that, now that we got into the Thousand Year Blood War arc, it's actually fucking crazy. But I still put people onto Bleach because till I just tell them to watch till the Aizen part. You don't need to watch
Hmm.
ahead, but just watch till then, and it's honestly like okay, Bleach's story is really good, but it's not like I'm not it gets kind of conflicting right here because
Hmm.
I do watch it for the story and I do watch it for the fights, but like I try bringing people on to Bleach not because of the story but because of the fights. Like I emphasize the fights more than the story when it comes to like persuading people to watch it or rewatch. If I were to
Gotcha.
rewatch, yeah, because
Yeah.
there's certain fights like that are just immaculate in that, and then it's like there's just action upon action upon action. So even if you rewatch it and you rewatch it in a way where you're not watching filler, it's just pretty much straight up action. So yeah, I mean, I other than that, yeah, I don't really ever have that issue.
That's fair. All right, so let's get into the next one. All right, so this is something that a lot of us will have a problem with, and it doesn't just have to be when we're rewatching an anime, but that's plot armor and power creep becoming more annoying. So let me just give an example. So you were talking about this a little while ago, on when you're talking about how I forget which anime it is off the top of my head, but you were talking about how oh, it was Demon Slayer. All right, so you're talking about how basically when Tanjiro gets like he weakens a demon and then all of a sudden he becomes super strong when he's about to die. That's power creep.
Yeah, that shit happens way too often in
Yeah.
a lot of animes. It's not just Demon Slayer. That
Mhm.
should be happening in Bleach too. That shit happens in One Piece. I'm not gonna lie, that should be
Mhm.
happening in One Piece where, oh, this is my final attack, and then bam, he just goes crazy. Well, like I feel like
Yeah.
it is a staple in anime, but it does get corny at times where it's like, bro, you were just beaten. Like, okay, I don't like it.
Mhm.
Okay, so I don't like it when it happens with villains too, because it happens heavily with villains,
Yeah, all the
especially
time.
in like demon type villains or like JoJo's, bro, they would just come back like stronger than they were, and they just got beat the
Mhm.
fuck out of. Like round one, they just got beat. Come back like 2 seconds, they're breathing heavy. Two
Mhm.
seconds later, they look at the sun or some shit, and bam, they're like back to normal. Or like, oh, it's I just need 50 seconds to regenerate, and bam, I'm good. Like I personally don't like that in anime. It does happen a
Mhm.
lot with villains, and I do get it because obviously, the point is to kill him or like defeat him in a different way and not just like through brute force. But it's like you can make the person stronger. You don't need to have him deteriorate and just come back. But
Right.
yeah, that's my thoughts on that. It's kind of
No,
yeah.
I was gonna say no, man. I agree with you, but like when it comes to like rewatching it, and at the moment when you're watching it for the first time, you're like, "Holy shit, yo, that new form is fire!" Like, let me think of an example. Like, when Goku went Super Saiyan for the first time, like obviously that shit is a legendary moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're looking back on it, you're like, bro, where was this before? Like, all I did was witness like Krillin getting clapped. That's legit all that
That's
happened. You know what I mean?
funny as
And
hell.
like obviously like bro just got strong out of nowhere. That's just countless examples. Like for example, I mean it's happened in One Piece a bunch of times. Luffy just gets like a new gear, or do you remember when Usopp got to beat the fuck out of, you know what I mean, and then all of a sudden he somehow gets strong when that moment
Yeah.
he was getting clapped. I think it was in Alabasta, against like the mole lady.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I
I mean
That happens
it
a lot in One
yeah.
Piece. I'm not gonna be the biased One Piece dude that
Mhm.
says it doesn't happen. It happens a lot in One Piece, especially with Luffy. Like, bro, like we're about to see it happen right now. Like he just got clapped by Kaido, but like
Right.
I get like he wasn't supposed to be clapped that hard by Kaido
Mhm.
because yo, I'm about to spoil this shit out of the latest episode. Okay, so this is a spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't watched the latest One Piece episode. Just close your ears for the next 5 seconds. It was crazy, bro. Like even this, like every episode right now is going wild, and even like I don't know if you've seen the last episode, but
Mhm.
basically they were showing how the CP0 agent grabbed
Mhm.
Luffy's arm right before he
Right.
was about to clash with Kaido, and
Yeah.
it was like a flashback to Odin's time. and he's like right there, right? He gets clapped, but we're about to see him get resurrected as Gear 5. You know what I mean? It's kind
Right,
of
right.
like the same shit happens there, but
Exactly.
I mean, it happens in a lot of anime. It is kind of it is kind of annoying when they do it too
Mhm.
much. But yeah,
Yeah. So I guess the harsh reality for this is when it happens in the moment, we're all hyped for it. Like obviously, like how can we not be hyped for Gear 5? But then maybe 5, 10 years when One Piece is done, and we're looking back, we're like, man, that was kind of lame. Like how did that happen? You know what I mean? But I guess that
yeah,
kind of leads me to the next one. All right. So the next harsh reality is some series better benefit from a binge watch model.
yeah. I think One Piece is actually, you know, even though people do watch it, week to week, but if you
Hmm.
watch the first half week to week, it's very hard. Like it's very hard to watch that week to week. Not too much. It's like just a whole like time slots where nothing happens.
Hmm.
It's like one punch will happen, or they just got through the desert, or some chopper shit, Usopp shit. Some court like me and my friends always talk about this. Like, yo, just skip. Like sometimes they do too much when it gets to like Usopp running away and Nami. Like it's just,
Yeah.
bro, show like real shit. Like don't show like stupid Usopp shit. Sometimes they go
Mhm.
overboard with it, but just generally, it's like they do that too much. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to rewatching something, it might honestly be better to rewatch than going week by week. Just for example, like I like to keep a bunch of episodes of One Piece going, so I don't have to watch it weekly. Which right now I'm trying to catch up like crazy before, obviously the Gear 5 episode drops, which everyone's hyped for. So that ain't really a spoiler because everybody know that shit's coming. You know what I mean?
No, we better do a watch party for that shit though. So
Hell yeah, man.
stay tuned. We're doing a watch party for that. But yeah, I think longer animes benefit from this style of binging
Yeah.
because you forget what happens. If especially now
Hmm.
with these anime that take very long breaks, like GJK, it just came back, but like I don't know. I still haven't watched the first episode, but I
Hmm.
don't know what happens because they took such a long break. But if I
Right.
were to binge everything, it would just be like, right to the point. I think
Facts.
every like consuming the information is like everything's in your head already, so you can consume it very easily. But yeah, I think for longer animes this occurs. For shorter animes, watching like it depends on the anime. So it depends on how they bring hype into the anime. With One Piece now, like binging the Kaido fight would be okay, but
Hmm.
like since they have every week, it's like we have the leaks, then we have like people reviewing those leaks, and then we have the actual trailer or whatever. There's always some type of little content being thrown at us, like previews, and the
Hmm.
hype kind of builds up the moment. So I would say it depends on the anime. It depends on how they bring hype into the equation. But also if it's
Yeah.
a long anime that gets very dragged out, like One Piece,
Hmm.
watching those parts binged up is definitely like the move. And I do the same thing where it's like if there's no hype built around like the anime itself, sometimes like My Hero, sometimes Demon Slayer, like there's hype built up, but some episodes really don't have that hype. So I'll just really collect those episodes until the hype builds up and I just watch all of it either till towards the end or until that hype moment, goes gets through.
Yeah.
Like last season when in Demon Slayer when they were doing the fight, like that fight was so good that I caught
Hmm.
up just to watch that fight.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, I think some have the binge mode, some don't. Well, what do you think about that?
Honestly, man, no, I agree. It's the same thing. Like it's tough because it really depends on anime to anime, and obviously it also depends on what you're in the mood for and if you're rewatching it or not. So I totally agree with you, but at the same time, like really anything could happen. But yeah, I mean, it is definitely a harsh reality when it comes to rewatching an anime because sometimes it might be a better experience for you watching it because you're able to binge rather than going week by week. Even though me personally, I love the hype between every single weekly episode, but like you were mentioning earlier, I'll be forgetting mad shit week to week and from season to season. So that's definitely a huge point to consider when it comes to the harsh reality of binging versus not binging. But yeah, let's hop into the next one because this one I feel like is honestly one of the most controversial ones on the list, and that is one of the harsh realities of rewatching an anime is sometimes we kind of notice that a super powered protagonist can resonate more with younger viewers. So basically, what this means is, yeah, they got OP, anime characters, and we can't really do anything about it. It sometimes doesn't fit the story, but they do it because, like you mentioned earlier, it resonates with younger viewers, and this is shonen for the most part that we're talking about, and shonen is meant for a younger adults or kids even. So yeah, that's a huge thing to consider when it comes to producing the anime because that's who it's appealing to.
No, definitely. I mean, I could just an example for that would be Eisen. For
Yeah.
me, like I watch like when I read think about Eisen, bro,
Hmm.
dude just gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. Every like he has like literally 15 different forms. Every time someone like knocks him out, normally Ichigo, he gets a different form, and then he keeps like it's honestly just gets annoying. The forms do look cooler, like every single time,
Hmm.
like they look cool, but it's like yo, the same shit is happening,
Yeah.
and it's like let's get to a conclusion. Sometimes they drag out the fights too much in a lot of the
I
older
would I would
anime.
say that I would say an even better example for this is Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z because obviously you've got Goku. Everybody loves Goku, especially the younger audience. Or when we were younger, we love Goku. He's the basically the prototypical um protagonist that's OP because Super Saiyan. Then there's a new form, like you mentioned, Super Saiyan 2, 3, 4, and then there's now Super Saiyan God 2, Ultra Instinct, and it just keeps going on and on, you know what I mean? So it's kind of exactly what you were saying with Aizen, where he's kind of getting more and more forms. But I think that's what this article is referring to when it says um, the super powered protagonist is more for the younger viewers because that's what younger people like. They love that shit. You know what I mean? When your favorite main character becomes like an OP dude and just beats everyone's ass. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I feel like that's a perfect example.
no, I hate that shit. Like
Hmm.
I hate that shit. Like because it gives no substance to the actual fights
Yeah.
that happen. So this was very prevalent in Seven Deadly Sins.
Oh yeah, for
Meliodas
sure.
was just bopping people. Like it was just not even fair. It's like
Hmm.
somehow this dude was already like the best of the best of the best. Like we realize like throughout the story, once we get more information, we do realize he was, the best of the best. But like it gives no substance to the fighting.
Right.
Uh, that's why like that's why I like One Piece and Naruto and like
Hmm.
these older shonen. I don't know if you've seen the meme that happened that was posted on Anime Plus a couple weeks ago. It was like how basically how protagonists now how they train now and how they
Oh
used to
yeah.
train. So like they used to train where like you see Zoro doing some fucking like one-handed push-ups with like 800 pounds on his back, and then you see like who is the JJK guy? He's just
Yeah,
eating.
Itadori, he's just chilling on the couch watching a movie.
Yeah, exactly. I think before okay, some anime used to like there was no training. They just
Hmm.
fight. It's kind of just wild. I think that kind of happens with like JoJo's in some parts too, where it's like yo, JoJo's just starts off like that's kind of a JoJo's thing though. But like he starts off badass as fuck,
Hmm.
he kind of already knows his powers, and it takes him like a day or two just to just beat everybody. It's kind of like crazy. But I do have that issue with a lot of anime, and it's an
Hmm.
issue of not even rewatching anime. It's an issue that I see when I initially watch an anime. Or if it's like I don't like the power system, I'll kind of knock it off. But I think Hunter x Hunter had one of the better. Hunter
Hmm.
x Hunter had one of the better power systems. Obviously, One Piece's power system, I love it with hockey and the Hell Fruits. Um, Bleach, Naruto, they all had really good, power systems. Some power systems are actually just quirks. Quirks are okay. Quirks are okay. Yeah.
All right, let's get into the next one. All right, so this one is crazy because I know you're about to go crazy on this one, but I guess the next harshest reality of rewatching an anime is filler episodes are now a greater annoyance. And I think that's big, big facts because if you think about it, when we were a kid, we didn't really give a shit if something was canon or not. We just watched it because, we love the series and we didn't care what the story was about. We didn't care if it was canon or filler. I can think of so many Naruto fillers that low key I liked, but if we're rewatching Naruto, for example, we're gonna just skip over it because we don't really give a fuck because it's not part of the main story. But when we were a kid, man, we love that shit. I can think of so many different fillers. There were a few where Naruto's just chilling out with Shikamaru and they're just fucking around and they're kids messing around on missions. Or there's a Rock Lee filler which was really cool. And now when we're rewatching it, it's just annoying, man. And it sucks because we really enjoyed it for the first time we were watching, but it is a harsh reality that now we're not able to enjoy it. We just literally skip over it. So that's definitely a harsh reality that we have to face when we're rewatching an anime.
So I have like a completely
Hmm.
different perspective on this.
Hmm.
Since so for One Piece, that was my first anime. In the beginning, I was watching filler, right? But I was
Yeah.
like, yo, what is this bullshit? Like, what am I watching? Because I know this is not One Piece. You know the story. If it's not part of the
Mm,
story, you can tell instantly it's not part of the story
true.
because there's a set, thing that they have to do. But once I got put onto like filler lists and filler websites, like where to
Yeah.
actually find the fillers, I did not watch a single filler after that. Bro, I felt so liberated because I was watching straight filler, bro. I was watching
Oh, was
Bleach.
it the dude named Foxy? I
Yeah,
remember
I
that.
remember I watched Foxy, bro. I watched a couple of the first ones. I remember they were like
The
infiltrating like
treasure dude? Oh
a
yeah, yeah,
marine
yeah,
base
yeah.
or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. And Luffy was chilling behind the dude,
Yeah, yeah,
making
yeah.
faces. Yeah.
So I mean they were funny and they're
Hmm.
good for like okay, they're good. At that point I wasn't watching One Piece week to week. So I was
Okay.
still binging through it. So
Okay.
me like deleting those fillers out made
Hmm.
it even faster for me. So I kind of don't have like kind of don't relate to this problem because
Hmm.
I just never really dealt with filler after I realized there was no filler. Like I never ever like I only watched a couple filler. Like
Hmm.
thank God I got saved early on in my journey. But yeah, I think it was just at that point where there were filler sites coming up and you can just watch whatever. Luckily, my friends told me about it early because I was not trying to watch no more Foxy shit. That
Hmm.
shit was getting mad corny, even as a kid. Even as a
Yeah.
kid, that shit was getting corny, bro.
But I
Like
feel
they
like
put,
I feel like it depends on what you're watching though, because One Piece's fillers are different than Bleach, for example, or Naruto. So like I know, for example, a lot of people that grew up on Bleach, they were able to get through the Bount arc because they didn't know that it was filler, you know what I mean? And they thought it was part of the story, and that's what got them through it, and then they were able to enjoy the rest of the series. But me being able to, like watching Bleach for the first time and knowing that it's filler, that shit, like, I mean, I didn't know the first time, but still, nonetheless, like, it makes it harder to watch knowing that it is filler,
no, 100%. Bleach kind of was mad slick with the filler too,
right?
because they kind of connected it with the story. Like it really connected with the story, and I thought it was like I watched the Bout arc fully. Like
Hmm.
no, I really thought that shit was part of the story. They make it fit. Yeah, and I think you're right about which anime differ when it comes to the filler
Yeah,
because One Piece's filler is straight like whack. No
that's
effort is
booty
put into
cheeks.
it. Yeah, like no effort is put into it. Luffy just gets thrown into random shit and he has to fight somebody using his powers
Hmm.
that he showed literally previously, like 10 episodes ago. And we know this isn't like every time Luffy gets into a new fight,
Hmm.
what most fans are looking for is what's the new power that he got.
Right.
There's always like a new power, but we don't even get that when it comes to filler. So, it's just filler is not it. And if y'all are watching filler, I say I would not recommend it. I would say y'all just wasting precious canon time. But yeah,
No, no, I mean, I definitely think you're right, but again, it's a harsh reality, man. It just sucks. But yeah, let's get into the next one. All right, so number two for the most harshest reality when it comes to rewatching an anime is it's so much easier to notice poor animation. And low key, man, I think that this is the biggest thing for me. So when I was rewatching Naruto, I noticed so many times that the frames look terrible. There's so many things that just look off when it comes to rewatching Naruto, and just in general, I just notice it, man. It kind of pisses me off. Well, I'm trying to still enjoy the anime, which don't get me wrong, I do enjoy it. I just tend to notice it a lot more easily, and even though I notice it, I enjoy it, but I don't know, man. It just fucks with me, man. Like I'll notice like Naruto's eyes are like kind of crossed, or like I don't know, man. There's so much weird shit when looking at the older animation. It just kind of pisses me off.
No, I mean, you're definitely right. We just get so accustomed to the newer anime
Hmm.
and how quickly they do it. Like obviously animation style and animation it evolves, and we're seeing the best of the best right now. So if we something see something that's like 20 years old, it's completely like we are definitely not gonna want to see it. It's so like slow. Everything is like especially like I remember watching rewatching some parts of One Piece, bro.
Hmm.
Some guy's hand will be moving, or like for like a couple seconds, or it's like they used to do shit where it's like nothing in the actual like screen was moving, but they
Hmm.
would just move like the orientation of the screen, or they would move like they would bring the screen from point A to point B, but there's
Hmm.
nothing. It would be a picture. It would be a still picture moving, and they did that for a lot of like parts in One Piece.
Hmm.
It's so noticeable. Like you'll see not the back, nothing in the background is moving, but just the ship or something will just be
Right,
like
right.
tagging along. And before, when we were kids, it didn't really matter because it's not something we really even
We really
looked
cared about,
into or
right?
we really
Yeah.
cared about. But when we see new anime and new animation, we
Hmm.
see like we basically you get dealt like cake, and then it just turns into broccoli. Like you don't want that
Yeah.
shit no more, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of the same situation.
Yeah.
And
I was gonna say there's two examples I can think of real quick. Sorry to cut you off there, but number one, man, is if you think about it, some of the way older animation, like way older anime, we look back at it, we're like, we can't watch this because of the animation. So we're lucky enough to be able to be in like we started watching anime in a time where like Naruto came out, Dragon Ball, blah blah blah. But we can kind of rewatch that, and yeah, we do notice it. But if you think about it, like the next generation, they probably won't be able to watch it just because of how kind of iffy and choppy the animation looks. And I'm talking frame like strictly frame by frame. Like nowadays we have crazy frame by frames. You know, we talked about it in an earlier pod. The whole smoking on that Big Mom pack. There's so many other insane frame by frames. So when we compare that to like some of the old anime we used to watch, we're just kind of like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So that's one good example that I'm thinking off at the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like there's other weird shit when it comes to like some of the older anime. Like, I don't know if you know exactly what I'm talking about, but like sometimes I see like the anime characters' eyes are like weirdly crossed. Like it just looks weird, man. And I don't know, sorry going on a little bit of tangent here, but another thing that recently I noticed was so me and my wife we were watching Naruto, right? And that shit looked blurry as hell, right? And I'm like, I thought that it was, my streaming service I was using that caused it to be blurry. I went refreshed, restarted my PlayStation. I watched on my PlayStation. Restarted that, restarted my router. I used a
god
different streaming
damn.
service. Like I was using Crunchyroll, I switched over to Hulu, and Loki was still blurry. And then I just at that point I'm like, dude, it's definitely just the animation itself that looks blurry. So
That's
yeah, I
funny
mean,
as hell. My man was using 2023 solutions for a 1990s problem, and it just wasn't equating. Like nothing was working. That's funny as hell. I
yeah,
think yo,
man.
that's the shit with a lot of people getting into One Piece. Like that's one of the core reasons why
Hmm.
people don't get into One Piece. Oh, the animation sucks. Well, the animation is from 1999. It's from the 2000s. Like
Hmm.
you can't expect it to be phenomenal.
Hmm.
And I know we're on the subject of rewatching, but it
Hmm.
also goes like that's such an old anime that it's like you have to watch what was put out at that time. So, it is a buzzkill for a lot of people that grew up on AOT, Demon Slayer,
Hmm.
and all these new like JJK animes, like these these are like out of the park, like out of like it's just crazy the animations. Like yo, I was watching Zom 100, just the beginning, like just the first five.
Oh, you watched that, bro?
Bro, I saw a recommendation on it on
Okay.
Netflix. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, I watched like the first minute, and the animations were just
Insane, right?
deadly. It was so good,
Whew.
and it wasn't like anime animations. It was like, bro, there's a kick to it. Like they did a good job. I only watched the first minute, so I can't really tell you how the animation of the whole
Hmm.
show is. But what I've seen from the first minute,
Hmm.
obviously they're gonna put very high action, very good quality into the first minute. But bro, I was seeing like the animation, like I'm not even talking about animations, like the way they move the camera looks like the virtual camera. The
Yeah.
way they were moving the virtual camera, it looks so good, and I think that's also prevalent in a lot of new animes. Like, was it
Hmm.
Hell's Paradise or Heavenly Delusion? Actually,
Heavenly Delusion, yeah.
yeah, like the way
Insane.
they shoot the scenes, or the way it looks like it's so called shot by the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nice, and it looks like actual like drone footage, and then it's an anime, it's an animation, or
Hmm.
and it's an anime. I mean, and it works so well, it flows so well. But yeah, I would definitely recommend. Like, I'm watching Zom 100 just
Yeah.
off that first minute. I'm going to watch it. Seems very interesting, but just wrapping around, these animations have just become way too good, and also what it is the animations are meant to derive like dopamine and like basically hit us with like moments of like craziness. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Right.
Before, like now, an anime can fully be like top tier just by animation and not even great story. Before, I feel like story was more impacted on, or like we actually read the story for the anime more, because first of all there was a lesser amount of anime, which means either you got dealt with what you got dealt with because
Yeah.
really had no choice. So you either enjoy the story or you don't. But now it's like there's so many different anime that some people probably watch anime just for the animations of the show. Like, I'll watch Demon Slayer for the show, for the animations. I do not watch Demon Slayer for the story because honestly the story is mid. But yeah, animations is a whole different subject. We did an episode on anime and animation in anime,
Hmm.
and just because it evolves so quickly, it kind of erases the past quickly too,
All right, yo,
if
just
that
kind
makes
of
sense.
going off. No, that does make sense. But kind of just going off what you were saying. Kind of off a side note, did you hear about what Mr. Beast was planning to do with Naruto? Have you heard of that?
No, what happened?
All right, so basically for Naruto's 20th anniversary, they redid it like a bunch of scenes. Some of the older scenes where obviously the animation was not that great, and they redid it with modern technology and modern animation, and it just looked phenomenal. So Mr. Beast kind of, as soon as that it came out, he tweeted out like, "How much do I have to pay to get every episode looking like that?" And I'm just paraphrasing off the top of my head. And somebody replied with, it probably cost around, I think it was he wrote 9 million, if I'm not wrong, to redo the entire thing. And then Mr. Beast just replied with deal. So I don't know, and I highly doubt this will ever happen, but could you imagine if Mr. Beast was willing to remake Naruto with better animation? That would be so fucking sick, man.
Bro,
Like
it
I would
would
love
be
that.
sick. It would be sick. And
Hmm.
it would be like such a fire move by Mr. Beast,
Yeah.
because I think he's, first of all, he has one of the, if not the biggest audience ever,
Hmm.
right? On the internet. And
Hmm.
then he'll add a whole nother genre of audience, basically, with the older anime community. Like, I don't watch Mr. Beast, but I
Hmm.
would respect my boy Mr. Beast if he did this, because that's fucking,
Right.
bro, that's fucking crazy. The like
That would be so fucking real and awesome because like I said before, man, I'm rewatching Naruto and I notice all the animations that are just kind of off. And to be able to rewatch Naruto with a high definition and like an actual enjoyable watching experience, like animation wise, would be so amazing. Like it would just make my life, like it would literally make my life, dog.
No, definitely. Yo, like they did that with a bit of One Piece, the beginning. That's
Yeah.
literally the only reason I can kind of bear through watching it again when I
Mhm.
watch it with like other people. It also gives me like a good feeling of like newness when I
Yeah.
watch, a enhanced video. Basic, that's what I
Hmm.
would say. So AI does enhancements, right? Can we get an AI that enhances all the animations and the clarity of the video for anime? That would be wild,
That would
bro.
be
There's
sick.
a
Yeah.
there's a lot of shit that AI can kind of revitalize in rewatching anime. If there's like, imagine that, right? Just with the publication company thing that we were talking about, imagine they remake these anime and they remake them a lot better, and then we also have the AI to go to every and any spot that we want in the anime. Like,
Hmm.
bro, if anyone's listening, bro, we're giving some top tier money making ideas out here. So giving
We
back,
want the royalties though, dog.
give
We
it,
want the
yeah.
royalties.
We do want the royalties, so come, come. Let us know. Let us know in the Discord. Let us know in the Discord if you want to follow through up with this plan.
Facts.
Nah, but I think animation, yeah, it's definitely huge.
For sure. All right, yo. So let's get into the last one. So the harshest reality when it comes to rewatching an anime again is its repetitive storytelling is so much more obvious. So obviously, you watch it, you know what's going to happen. But when you kind of rewatch it again, you notice that certain things like, yo, that was so obvious, bro. How did I not know the first time? Some of the examples that come to my head were obviously I'm rewatching Naruto. So some of the things that were happening there were I'm just gonna say because at this point Naruto's been sold, but when Orochimaru got killed by Sasuke, I was kind of like, dude, that was so like I don't want to say it was so predictable, but it kind of was, and also at the same time, it was also predictable that he didn't actually die because it was so uneventful. Like Sasuke basically one moved him, and that was not a satisfying thing. And you kind of knew that he was coming back. And there's countless examples of this. I'm just picking on Naruto because I'm rewatching that at the current moment. But again, this happens so much that you don't notice it at first, but when you're rewatching an anime, you really do notice how repetitive some certain elements are and how predictable certain things are. When it comes to repetitiveness, I mean, we've seen so many of this. Like, can you think of an example for this own? Or I'm gonna put you on
When
the
it
spot
when
here.
it comes to repetitiveness,
Yeah.
I think One Piece kind of does this shit the most, where
Hmm.
we have the same story of he goes. This is not like specific repetitiveness, as in this is story wise repetitiveness,
Yeah.
as in he goes to a kingdom.
Right.
He finds one of the girls. Honestly, it's always the same princess, right? Makes friends with the princess. Princess conflicts with the father or
Yep.
something. Father,
Enemy pirate. Yeah.
yeah, Roy, a ruler of the country is getting, a pirate taking over the country. This happens pretty much every island, and the father was a hero before, but now he's old or his leg is chopped off or some shit's going on. He can't fight anymore, and he
Hmm.
needs the help of Luffy to liberate this island. And it happens where Luffy gets his ass kicked. Um, then he gets his ass kicked again. Then he gets his ass kicked again, and then maybe he'll get his ass kicked again, and then he'll win. And then everyone's liberated, and now they're part of the crew and they're part of the fleet. Then one person always wants to join the crew and is like a second away from joining the crew,
Hmm.
but no, it doesn't happen, and then they go along the journey. Like, tell me I did not just explain every arc from start to finish.
That's
Like that.
that's that's honestly hilarious coming from you because I know how much you love One Piece, and obviously that's not all One Piece is. There's so much more depth to it, but the general storytelling is very similar. So you basically did kind of yeah, you put One Piece in simple words. I didn't even think that was possible, but that's kind of what you just did.
It's literally like with okay, so to to connect everything, every place he liberates gets added to the story, so we do
Yeah.
see we do see it come back. So it's
Hmm.
not, obviously it's not just like a simulation of the shit happening over and over.
Hmm.
It builds onto the story in every single kingdom. Like at the end, it's like my theory is, he's gonna liberate everybody, but obviously there's way more to the One Piece, but everyone's gonna be
Mhm.
liberated, and it's going to be due to his like efforts in liberating every single contribution is gonna make an effort and an appearance at the end type thing.
Yeah, no,
But
I just want to kind of add on to that. Not One Piece, but a different anime, and I've been violating this anime pretty much for this entire episode. But Dragon Ball, man, when it comes to repetitive storytelling and predictability, that's legit what Dragon Ball Z like embodies, because it's honestly the same thing over and over again. Obviously, it's not the same exact form, it's not the same exact story, but the overall arching theme is prevalent every single time, and it's the same shit where there's an adversary that wants to either blow up the planet, kill people, blah blah blah, and Goku and squad pulls up, they get clapped, they get a new form, they clap the enemy gets a new form, then Goku and Cove, they basically kind of get clapped, but they're just hanging on to some little hope, and then somehow they get a new form, or they're able to plot armor type beat, or power creep that we talked about earlier, and then come back and clap the enemy, and then they save the world. So I feel like that's an even better example than One Piece, just because One Piece has a lot more that builds on. But yeah, I mean, I've been harping on Dragon Ball Z, but that to me seems like a perfect example. I don't know. What do you think?
no, I mean that is a perfect example. I haven't watched Dragon Ball Z, but
Hmm.
I know there's one thing that might be an even better example that we
Yeah.
both have watched. The first three seasons of JoJo's, bro. It's the same shit. Tell me not. Tell me not.
Oh, you about to trigger mad JoJo fans, dog.
I know I am, but tell me not. It was JoJo family versus Dio. JoJo family versus Dio. You have to fight a bunch of people to get to his lair. And once you get to his lair, you like climb to the top, and then you beat Dio. Like
Yeah,
it's
I will say later on in JoJo's, the story differs a lot more, but I can see what you're saying for the first few JoJo stories.
like the first time it was good, the second time it was okay, but then when they did it like the third time, it was like, yo, what's going on?
Hmm.
But also, it's like the repetitiveness in the fights. It's just obviously each fight is kind of different,
Hmm.
but we understand every time there's a stand, we instantly know this is a stand, and they make it very obvious. And a lot of older animes do make their like storytelling very obvious. I think now it's a bit different. We have like everything is like hype based, so they keep it low key. Before it was like everything was so obvious, and I think that was just the essence of anime and shonen as a whole.
Hmm. That's fair. I mean, that's definitely a good point. All right. Do you have anything else to say, or do you think that's gonna be it for this episode?
I think that concludes it. I think we went over pretty much everything, and if you guys want to discuss anything with us, if you guys have any disagreements or something you want to tell us, we are always in the Discord. So
Hmm.
join the Discord. It's gonna be in the link in the description. Join the Discord, and we're definitely doing watch parties for major events. Definitely, Gear 5.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
when Luffy turns Gear 5, we're doing a watch party. But yeah, let's get the Discord popping. Meet new people. Vibe with like-minded anime watchers, and
Hmm.
let's build that community together. So yeah.
Yeah, man, we really love having y'all. I know a lot of you guys joined from either this podcast or Instagram or even TikTok. Some of y'all joined from there. And it's honestly really cool meeting all y'all. Whether we talk about anime, sports, or just life in general. I know one dude in particular was showing us, he traveled to Japan, which was really cool. So yeah, whatever you guys want to do, just come join our Discord and hang out with us. We honestly we have a lot of fun there. So make sure you guys join. But yeah, before we end this episode, I want to quickly shout out the author of this article that we used for this episode, Daniel Kurland. I got to give him credit where credit's due. He came up with 10 really good harsh realities when it comes to rewatching the anime. So a lot of these that we could relate to. I know Owen said he doesn't really rewatch anime like that, but for me, I could relate to pretty much every single one of these. So definitely a really great list. So shout out to him. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. Again, make sure you guys join our Discord. We have Instagram, blah blah. The link for this article will be in the description if you guys want to check it out yourself, or you guys can just hit me up on in our Discord server or Instagram, shoot us a DM. But yeah, that's enough. We'll catch you guys on the next episode of Anime Plus. Peace.
Peace.